Can I? Oh no, it doesn't work. It's too tall.
I really shouldn't do that. Stop spitting on my mics.
I'm not. Your Opinion Stinks opens the conversation on a hot button business topic.
And flips it on its head.
Hosted by a wellness coach
And a business coach.
we break down conventional business
While building entrepreneurs up for success. Who will you agree with?
Welcome to Your Opinion Stinks. I'm Tanisha.
And I'm Tim. Thank you as always for listening and watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the alert button. So that way, you know we did something. And if you're on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts, don't forget that you can subscribe there and actually have this go directly to your device and listen to all the goodness, which we recommend that you do because I watch a lot of stats. So I like to see that number go up.
You want all the goodness. We know you do.
Wow, you sound so creepy.
Hey, hit that like button.
I have no comment. I'm not adding to that at all.
So, a hot news topic lately has been higher education.
Yeah.
But it's been from a variety of angles. So you got Aunt Becky, who cheated her daughter into college.
Oh.
And Felicity Huffman. Man, I know her name better than Aunt Becky. She Aunt Becky to me. Full House. Yeah.
All right. Just for the sake of...
Oh, you're going to look it up? It's something
right.
Lauren McLaughlin.
Operation Varsity Blues.
2019 college admissions bribery scandal. Felicity Huffman. I was
Yeah.
right. Lori Laughlin.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So they got their kiddos into college through bribery and paying off and cheating SAT scores. And were you in rugby or were you a track star? And they're like, yeah, totally. And and faked some pictures and some
Photoshop action.
Y'all know what happens.
It
Some
was
Photoshop
great.
action.
The American dream.
So you got Aunt Becky, you got the Morehouse billionaire who's paying all the babies' tuition.
Yeah. Good job, sir.
That's cool.
That's paying it forward tremendously.
Way to set a bar.
And why didn't you do that for Full Sail University?
Oh,
March 2019.
conflict of interest.
I know it's not an HBCU.
He can never. First of all, he can never give another college speech
There's an
unless
expectation.
he's gonna do that. Second of all, I wonder about the mechanics of that.
All those kids are paying taxes on that money.
Like that, all the taxes you must have
But
to
then,
pay.
but then the taxes compared to the tuition, I'll take it any day.
Facts.
A lot less interest.
That's a lot less that you're paying. And then there's another one of all of the policy debate around like who's going to pay for the college. What about public financing? Like free in-state tuition and helping students with student loan debt, and more employers helping to pay off student loan debt as a benefit. Like, there are all these issues swirling around higher education. But we thought it would be interesting to talk about higher education as it relates to being an entrepreneur. When you decide to be an entrepreneur, own your own business, whether you're a youngin' or a more maturin'.
Experienced is a term that I've heard. It's very insulting because it's one of those things where they're being nice, but still.
Well, it's nicer than old.
You've been working way too long.
Whether you young or you just old.
I'm sorry. You're more experienced than we need for this position.
That's why I said maturing. I made up my own word.
Yeah. All right. So,
how, is a college degree necessary? Is taking on that debt or investment? Like, you can look at it that way, that it's an investment, especially with the tax write-off of interest. I mean, it's a little bit. It matters.
Yeah.
Is it worth the cost of money, of time,
stress
to do it? Or should you skip it and just get to getting with all the drama that comes with it? Why bother?
I'm on both sides of the fence, being that I'm a recent college grad. The whole thing of education in the workplace was, in my opinion, a necessary evil, because there wasn't many jobs where high levels of education was needed. Let me rephrase that. I'm saying it the wrong way. Back in the day, when you had higher paying jobs and you had a need for higher levels of education, that's what I was trying to say. Then you needed to go to college in order to get this new level of education so you could qualify for these positions. They were more readily available. We were talking in the car as we were driving about, well, my opinion of it, how things have changed because of the information age, where we're finding more ways to have computers do the jobs of people and taking them out of the equation and mostly having them for remedial tasks, as in someone that can repair the computer that's doing your job. So, like, for instance, McDonald's. You love going into McDonald's now because you can use a touch screen and totally skip talking to someone.
But
or minimally.
I do feel conflicted about it for that very reason.
That's somebody's job.
There's still people behind the counter. It's not like machines are.
When I walked in the last time, there was one person at the counter where they're set up for like 5 registers, and I feel bad because the poor guy. I'm not going to put you on blast or anything. Couldn't get the order right. But if I would have went to a machine and punched it in like if it was the Jetsons.
This is what I want. Yeah. That's part of why I like it. It doesn't have to filter through my mouth so that I communicate it accurately, filter through your brain into your fingers and enter it correctly, and then go back to the person who may or may not prepare it correctly. Let's just get it's entered perfectly. Or near perfect.
You cut out the input.
And then it goes right to the person who may or may not.
There's one level of opportunity of failure
one
gone.
Person, yes.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it, but it is so convenient.
In that, we've moved so much into automation and systems and computer, what do you call it? Computer learning?
Oh, machine learning.
Machine learning and things like that, where the specialized knowledge needs to match the current job market.
Right.
So
the job market has changed.
So there isn't a need so much for higher levels of education because the work isn't really there. Until the universities match up, it's becoming less important as it was back in the day.
Yeah, it's a complicated issue because automation.
A lot of computer work is taking away even the low to mid-level positions.
It may not just automatically replace everybody.
No.
But I take your point. Go ahead.
So when we're talking about this in the entrepreneurial space, the big thing, of course, is the MBA. That's like the big business degree.
Gotta get that MBA.
The lesser degrees that can still be led into entrepreneurship have now started to become certifications for most of them, like a certification in entrepreneurship and things like that. But they're basically teaching you business principles. And in that, for depending on what you do as an entrepreneur, some of those things just do not apply. Like, for instance, for me as an internet entrepreneur, I don't need to do a lot of the traditional things that a brick and mortar needs to do. There's certain advantages and disadvantages on either side of the coin, and a degree doesn't necessarily dictate me being able to be proficient, me being able to serve, me being able to market and sell. While there may be some overlaps, those are things that you can learn through experience, mentorship, and unfortunately, the internet. You know, the learning curve has dropped so much that now it is an actual discussion. Is a degree a necessary step? Now, here's the other side of the coin for me. There's an experience that higher levels of education provides that you can't get from a seminar, a webinar, or a retreat or anything like that. Even though, depending on the college or university, the experience can be varied tremendously. What I learned in my experience was there's a lot of what you can do now to kind of pick and choose what you want to take from the experience. Like for me, a big part of what I do is recording. And even though my degree path was mostly centered around the music industry, the recording aspect is something that lends into my business. And so the experience from from attending a university gave me some base of knowledge that I may have not received from any book or video course or anything like that. And actually, I could speak to it and say it couldn't, because I had industry professionals teaching me industry standards. So to find that in some type of thing like on a Lynda or a Teachable or anything like that it's a little difficult. So overall, and I like to kind of hear what your thoughts are. I'm not sure that I can say with a full breath that higher levels of education is a necessary step in order to be an entrepreneur. As a matter of fact, because of the finances of it all, to be honest, that's money that can be invested in it's like you could learn that same stuff in trade school. So, experience probably would trump it. That's where my head is, at least today.
I'm not willing either to say that it's necessary, but I take the point, I totally agree with the point raised in an article we'll talk about later, that as an entrepreneur, it's important to embrace knowledge as a lifetime, like acquiring more knowledge as a lifetime goal.
Yeah, you got to be a consistent learner.
So how you achieve that is up to you.
I can work with that.
And is deserving of some thought around strategy. So it could be that a degree program is right for you, not just because of what you learn from that particular program or institution, but also because of the experience, just of being in that program, whether it's online or at a university. But I'm more talking about at a university because, unfortunately, the life skills and teamwork skills and taking care of yourself skills and etc. are not a primary focus of our upbringing I'll speak of America, because we're in America. I think that's probably more widespread, but I'll speak just of America. Like that's
really hard for me to agree or disagree just because of my culture.
What you're talking not American?
Well, I mean, I'm saying I'm having a hard time saying absolutely yes because I'm American, but my culture taught me different things.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I want to hear more about that Because what I'm saying is the life skills part, unfortunately, and I think
Some
we
people just
really
don't
need
know how
to
to-
invest in changing that.
They don't know how to do their own
And
laundry.
it can go very wrong because we don't have that foundation. But a lot of that foundation comes through college for some people.
Yeah.
And so there's value other than what you're learning in the classroom.
Yeah.
There's who you're connecting with and how you're doing that. It's
The network at the
extracurriculars.
college level is really good.
Extracurriculars.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing your laundry and managing, like, you got this many points for your meals for the semester. And oh man, I had too many sloppy joes. I'm in trouble. You know, that all of that stuff
Yeah.
is important. Also, like, if you're a more mature student, I can imagine that being a bit of an escape from your life.
Yeah.
That there's a benefit in that, and you're probably talking to and communicating at length with people you haven't done that with, it may be in your life. And just being mentally stimulated and just experiencing an overall happiness level in your life that you haven't had in this way before, and that can be beneficial. So I agree with the idea that there are so many paths to entrepreneurship that higher education can be one of them, but making a more strategic decision about that is easier now than it has been in the past, with so many options of online learning, internships and apprenticeships, on-the-job training. If you skip it and go work for someone you want to be mentored by, mentorship opportunities. There are all these things, boot camps and webinars, and like we've talked about in past episodes, like retreats, all of that stuff, sources of education, the fodder for that lifelong learning path. So please go to the show notes if you're watching on YouTube, in the description box, or if you're not watching on YouTube and you're just listening, go to youropinionstinks.com for season 1, episode 16. So one of the articles you will find there is, should you go to college if you want to be an entrepreneur?
The answer is no.
The answer is maybe. Oh my goodness. Recent graduate. Absolutely not. Sassy. So this is the article I was speaking of earlier as one that I like very much. If you're, no matter what level you're at, it's not just the high schoolers about to make a big decision, life decision. It's anyone. This article is fantastic for helping you think through, like, what are my priorities and what are the options available to me? Because it's not, like you were saying, it's not just going to college. There are a lot of avenues to entrepreneurship. So one point I wanted to make, that she sort of makes it as a side point. This is from entrepreneur.com. The author is Carol Roth.
Contributor.
I'm sorry, contributor. The contributor is Carol Roth. Thank you. And she makes this side point that I think is really worth highlighting, because I thought it was very good. She says, however, I want to impress upon you that no matter what you intend to do as an entrepreneur, there are key business skills that everyone should study, develop, and acquire. These include accounting, marketing, and data analysis. I've never once heard an entrepreneur say they wish they knew less about their own financial statements, data, or marketing. So find a way to get those skills. This can even be through online study or job training before becoming an entrepreneur, but put that into your plan. I really like that.
I think it's sound, especially because it's one of those things where, and again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where there's something that you can pull to supplement on your education, that are, traditional business practices. Depending on the type of business that you do, for some of the things you may be able to get away with doing something that's really simple. I have, people in my network that run very simplistic businesses, so they don't need to do a lot on some of those things. But I also have some that are in my network that have tremendously large businesses, and they have teams that do this stuff. They run their business like a business. But on the individual note, I don't see any reason why someone couldn't learn some of those things. I'm for one always gonna be a advocate for marketing, because I feel that's the one thing that most businesses, whether they're digital or offline, that is not really given the type of credit that it needs to be. Like, most people work so much on deliverables that they forget that they have to have a pipeline of people coming in all the time. So, of course, I'm always going to be like, market. But I would agree with the other things of the whole thing of accounting and data analysis, because, again, it's something that's not sexy. So,
and to my earlier point, not focused on in education and most households and teaching their kids about it.
And so I can definitely see that being like, even if you didn't go to a higher level of education to get the knowledge, that you do find something to give you a baseline, if not improve your baseline, just so you always can measure what you do.
And I would add a fourth to that as a key business skill that is necessary.
Which is?
Leadership.
I would agree with that too. As a matter of fact, on our latest episode of the Swick Kick Show, I had Annabelle Bentwich, and she is a leadership expert. We actually just talked about that on the show. And I would have to agree, because eventually as you grow,
yes,
you need to be able to properly delegate. That's one thing that solo and micro entrepreneurs are horrible at, is being able to find people to do the work that they need to do, mostly because they don't know how to articulate it, how to systematize it, and how to do milestones properly in order to make sure that the people that they're working with are actually being, are helping the bottom line, not hurting the bottom line.
Yes.
That was a really good point.
Thank you.
That was a really good point. Because, at one time, outsourcing was a really sexy topic. Yeah. And outsourcing sucked for a lot of people just because they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. And to that point, what you're saying makes me wonder, because I can hear someone thinking, well, with today, today there are all these tools out there. There are all these people who, I can find someone who loves to be an accountant and loves to be a marketer and loves to be a data analyst, and I'll just hire them or outsource it to them as vendors or tools, and I don't even need a person. Automation, machine learning.
Yep.
So I don't need to learn those things. Now, my argument, I'm interested to hear what you think about that. My argument is that is the last thing you should do, is because you can do that, but you should have basic knowledge in all of those four things, including leadership to that. You need to understand those things, because if the only people who understand your business are the people working under you, you got a problem. You are highly vulnerable to some really, even if the person, I think people might be thinking, well, they might steal from you. They could, but I'm also just thinking of, you are responsible for the core functioning of your business. There are things you can delegate. There are projects you can have someone else manage, all of that. You don't have to know every little nuance of your business. You don't. But you should know the basics, because then for your business when things are going astray, when things need to be recalibrated, when this person might need help because, they're not thinking about this other thing. They're great at this thing, but man, I need a lawyer to look at this aspect of my business, or a different type of accountant to look at this part of my business, while this person focuses on that. You're leaving yourself open to a lot of drama and loss of income and sleep and resources when something goes wrong and you have no idea how to fix it.
So my thought is it's not a necessary step in the beginning of some businesses. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say some, and it's kind of one of those it depends answer, is because not every business is the same. Not every business.
Sure.
And when I say business, I'm even starting from the person that's creating it.
Yeah.
Because every person is individual amongst everyone.
Yeah. So
while, person A who runs the local ice cream parlor, they focus their business on just being able to serve the best quality ice cream. And then person B has an ice cream parlor and they focus solely on the data of what people in the area responds to, and they only serve them just like that one thing.
But Black Dynamite, I sell ice cream to the community. Go ahead, I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
In either of those situations,
Yes.
There's neither a right or wrong. So it's hard to say that absolutely positively you
From
need these
day
things
one.
in day one. But I can also work with the whole
can
thing
appreciate
of, it's good to at least have an understanding of the main things you need.
Yes.
And one, I'm always going to be an advocate. Marketing is the first one, in my opinion. I mean, if people don't know you exist, you don't exist. And that's one of the hardest things for people to really gravitate to and understand and believe and hold true and stay consistent with. It is difficult. Now, the other point that you were making, should it be tools rather than knowledge base? And
like getting, like, instead of getting a person, just get a tool.
just buy
to do
QuickBooks
it.
or something, whatever.
Just buy QuickBooks. Because I'm discovering all the time, like, ooh, that's a cool tool. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. And
But then now you got to spend the time to learn the tool.
not
and that can-
necessarily. It depends on how user friendly the tool is and how.
Well, that's true. So to answer you on that, I feel, again, it depends, because there's some people like me who love tech, understand tech, and probably can get a lot done with it. While there's some people who really need to be in a network of people.
And sometimes it's a combination of both. So Tableau is a tool for data visualization.
That's an expensive word.
No, it's an expensive word. And there are many businesses that can benefit from something like that. So you may want the tool, but there is a learning curve on Tableau. So you may want the Tableau developer to go with that.
Overall,
And it is the person, I would contend, who is knowledgeable of, at least at a basic level, of data, marketing, financial statements, and leadership, who knows, hey, maybe I should hire a Tableau developer and buy Tableau. Tableau is not a sponsor of this. That was just an example because I'm in.
but
the
if
data.
you're out there looking or watching or listening, I'm just saying. So
Go ahead.
yeah, overall, business building is like building a house.
Okay.
There's 1,000,001 ways to do it. And so I will never say that a degree is a must. And I'll never absolutely say it. I'll say it in joking, but I won't absolutely say it.
Yeah.
That you don't need a degree.
Right.
It's more so education for improvement.
Yes.
And then reaffirming what you know for new practice.
Yeah.
One thing I'll tell everyone about my alma mater, Full Sail, that I really like is they really believe that re-education is just as important as primary education. So anytime I choose that I need to refresh on something that was a part of my degree path, I can easily go back and do that for the rest of my days.
That's very cool.
In that, again, it's the benefit of paying, X amount of dollars.
Yeah. And it's a great example of one of the benefits that comes with today's higher education. It's
Depends.
things like that. For some institutions, they help in ways like that, where you can come back for the rest of your life and have this level of these services available to you. Or we help you find a job. Or and I don't mean just having a career center, like you
Right.
can look things up, but actually actively help you and assign you a person to help you. Or we give you these tools and licenses and equipment with your tuition that helps you on your journey to this thing. So there are all these other things that come. All of those actually happen to be Full Sail University did not sponsor this either. We are both very enthusiastic.
But
about
for
Full
all
Sail.
of my sailors that are out there,
We salute you. But yeah,
it's just one of those things where, as with anything else that you invest in yourself or you invest in your business, if it makes sense to do, you do it. If it doesn't, you don't. There's no skin off of anyone's back,
and it can be comforting to know if you find yourself going down a path that's not really working for you, there are options to divert course. And that's something I had to wrap my head around. And I still get into these patterns of I have to make the perfect decision right now, because if I don't, then I've doomed my life.
Yeah.
That's not true. If you're in school or not in school and you figure out, maybe I should be not in school or in school, then you can figure that out. It's okay. At least you did it and you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
So I think that's a good place to end, Timothy.
Cool. I'll say one thing before we'll break out.
Yes.
And this is for pretty much anyone that's watching. This is just me talking to all of you guys. If you ever find that a degree is something that means more than the business for you, pursue it. There's a lot of people that are afraid to actually go and do degrees because of either the finance or the commitment. And I just say don't be afraid. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining this ride that is Your Opinion Stinks. If you're on YouTube, don't forget, subscribe and hit that alert button so that way you know when new content goes up. And if you're listening on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts, subscribe there. And have it go directly to your device and, download all the way. I am Tim.
I'm Tanisha. And remember, opinions are not facts. Do your research and have fun in the fight. Bye-bye.